What is up, my beautiful apes? Hope you all had a wonderful day today. AMC did something that it hasn't done before, and that's the fact that it traded above $50 for the whole entire trading day. Big deal, because we also added the cherry on top of the situation, did it on less of a volume than what we've had in previous days. Big deal in my personal opinion, and shows the bullish nature behind the stock. But guys, AMC had a wonderful day. Yes, we pretty much finished flat, but we're consolidating and we're just waiting for that next move to the upside. And in this video, we'll cover the charts, we'll cover Stonko Tracker, we'll cover Ortex. We're also going to talk about a FINRA filing on our lovely best friend Citadel Securities, and we're going to also take a look at a Bloomberg article on the options chain. But before we dive in and cover all this kind of stuff, if you guys can, drop a like on the video, hit the subscribe button, make sure that you ring that bell too for the YouTube algorithm, because I want to get this video out to more and more apes so Ape Nation can continue to grow. But let's dive in here to the chart and take a look at this chart. And the things that I want to just address right up front. We hit $60.62 as a high, which is awesome, because yesterday we couldn't quite crack $60. We cracked it today. Hopefully tomorrow we can get above 60.62. We also had an intraday low of $52.77. And that is awesome because we didn't get down to $50 of that psychological level of support. I did draw in a technical level of support here right around $53 because we bounced off of it several times today. We also bounced off of it yesterday too. So I definitely do see it as a level of support for the stock. The next thing that I really want to talk about is we're going to have to zoom in here. The times that we saw the shorts really try to dump it on us today. The wicks on these candles are so long. And when I'm talking about the wicks, what I'm talking about is the bottom end of these candles. And if there was a strong selling pressure, the top of the candle would be empty and the bottom of the candle would be full, which would indicate a weak buying pressure and a strong selling pressure. Well, guess what, guys? The tops of the candles are filled on these, which shows the ape mentality, I'm going to buy it on a discount and I'm going to gobble all these shares up, because guess what? We know what these shares are worth and we know where we're going, and we're not giving them up. They can pry them out of our cold, dead hands, in my personal opinion. But the fact that we have so many bottom tailing wicks on this shows the incredibly strong bullish sentiment behind this stock. We're just buying the crap out of it when they decide to try to flush it down the toilet, in my personal opinion. Insert like a gif of someone flushing it down the toilet. But the fact that we're trading like this, like, it is a huge deal, guys. Like, I'm incredibly bullish on the stock and it just makes me happy. $50 trading above it today, the whole entire day, cherry on top of the cake, in my personal opinion. Now, if we zoom out here to the 1 month, 1 hour chart, I have drawn up a little bit larger of a bull flag because I'm anticipating a move in the next day or two on AMC. We have consolidated really for the past 2 days. Today was a better consolidation day than what yesterday was, because yesterday we had to essentially move from about 47-ish dollars, because on Friday we closed at 47-ish dollars. We were around 51 and we had a nice move to the upside yesterday. Today we really consolidate, but we're doing a good job of setting kind of a stair step right here around 55, 50-ish dollars. And when we're in this bull flag pennant formation, a descending level of resistance followed by an ascending level of support, most of these times bull flags tend to break to the upside. And what would I look at to the upside? I would look immediately here at $62.04. It acted as a level of support on the 2nd and 3rd of June. So if we can claim that as a level of support and consolidate above it and respect it as a level of support, that is definitely a bullish momentum for the stock, and it's going to set that next stair step a little bit higher and allow us to jump higher, in my personal opinion, and get that ultimate retest of that all-time high around $77.26. Would be incredibly awesome to see that. And guys, if we're doing this on low volume, just imagine what's going to happen when volume steps in, like what we saw at the end of last week. That was insane amounts of volume. And if it steps back in, strap yourselves in, guys, because we're going to be on a ride, in my personal opinion. But if you guys need anything of just more conviction within the stock, when in doubt, zoom out. Look at the year-to-date day time frame. I look at this chart all the time because it just gives me the utmost conviction within the stock. Where we have come in the past 14 trading days is absolutely insane, guys. It is absolutely insane. We were trading around, let's just pick a candle here. Like we had a high of $14. Today we had a high of $60.62. That is insane. We're almost trading 4x of where we were 14-ish days ago. It's huge, guys. Now we also do have the MACD and RSI indicating that we are overextended and overbought. Keep in mind, like I've said several times, these indicators, not candles, these indicators only look at candles. So take them with a grain of salt because right now TA is really irrelevant outside of intraday trading points and as we gather more data points moving in days ahead. Now, the next thing that I really want to talk about is the short interest through Ortex. Our short interest did decrease about 1.1%. So we saw 6.1 million shares returned and we had about 5.09 million shares borrowed. So we had a net borrowed change of 1 million shares to the downside. We still have our short interest of free float on loan sitting at 18.02%. Our short interest estimated of free float 11.60%. Between these two, shares on loan and short interest of free float, we're still looking around almost 30% of the stock being shorted. That is insane, guys. It's still a heavily shorted stock. So if people ask, can this still squeeze? It absolutely still can. And also, I'm just going to say that Ortex gets its data from 85% of the prime brokers. And that's what's reported to them. Reported is the huge word because we know that a lot of these market makers and hedge funds in the past have not properly reported this data essentially to the SEC or any other regulatory agency, or in this case, it would be Ortex. So can we really say that this is what is actually happening? Not really. And there was an interview that was done on Matt Kor's channel. I can't remember the lawyer's name for the life of me. But the fact he said is anything that you know about short interest within AMC, pretty much perceive it as a lie. So this data in front of us could definitely be wrong and be wrong completely. So in my opinion, I'm going to go back to the analogy of getting the empty water bottles and then eventually getting that one full water bottle. How many empty water bottles are out there before we get to the full one? And have they even really started covering up at all? Like, in my personal opinion, if I look at the chart and Webull on the year-to-date time frame and say, have they really started covering in the past couple of days? Look at the past 5 days. Not really. Not really. I really don't think they've been covering at all, guys. Like, I think what we're seeing is a lot of shares on loan because shares on loan not necessarily have to be shorted stock. They just have to be put out on loan and not sent into essentially sold to the market. The person who has those shares on loan could just be holding them. So I think personally, in my opinion, that's what we're seeing a lot of return shares as, is those people who had short shares out on loan and they're just saying, nope, stock price has gone up too much. It's way too volatile, way too risky kind of thing. Don't want to do it. Also keep in mind, we're starting to see a lot of market makers saying that they don't want to sell short positions at all. So something's definitely going on here, guys, and the writing is definitely on the wall in my personal opinion. Now let's take a look here at Stocko Tracker. We have 135,086 calls currently in the money. At $60, we're going to add another 48,133 calls in the money, which is definitely huge. The options chain for this week is stacked, guys. It is literally stacked, and we'll take a look at it in a quick second. But we have 3.8 million shares of AMC that are available to borrow short. We have 15,230 short ETFs that are available to borrow. Now, if you take a look at my video yesterday, we had around 64-ish thousand short ETFs that were available. Today, we only have 15,230. Definitely a lot of shorting going on between short ETFs and short shares of AMC. So, guys, they're hitting it with everything they possibly can. And us apes are definitely something that they have not seen before. And dumb money is definitely becoming smart money. And I wear that badge of dumb money with pride, guys. But next, let's talk actually, let's talk about the options chain here and take a look at the options chain for this week. So I'm going to point out a couple of strikes here. So the $60 strike has 29,144 calls that could be added to the money. If we take a look at the $70 strike, 22,055. $80 strike, another 9,000. Really, $100, we add another 17,510. And that 145, take this with a grain of salt because the contracts are currently only worth 65-ish dollars, but 44,611 contracts. Now, with all the current contracts that are in the money, market makers are going to have to do what's called delta exposure and reduce their delta exposure by delta hedging. What that essentially is doing is them buying up shares to essentially say, all right, well, if we have this many calls in the money, we have to buy these shares kind of thing to just reduce our risk of delta exposure. So we might see this tomorrow because keep in mind last week, the most active week, really most active day, not active week, active day on the options chain was Wednesday of last week. So just keep that in mind, guys. Now, let's take a look at this FINRA broker check report about Citadel Securities, because I think this is definitely something relevant that we need to take a look at. And I'll link it down below in the description of this video so you guys can also take a look at it. But we're going to really go to page 38 here within the filing, because this is definitely something that I think we need to look at. And what this report is talking about is the disclosure event details, essentially the things that Citadel Security has done wrong. And what we need to take a look at is understand what we're up against, and this will definitely help us give us an idea. The one that I really like taking a look at here is, and the huge thing I want to talk about here is the fines, $180,000. Just imagine how much money they're making on some of these short positions. Like, that is huge, guys. It's huge. Like, these fines are like nothing to some of these short positions and market makers. It's just not a lot. So, like this one here, allegations for the sole purpose of settling this disciplinary proceeding without adjudication of any issues or laws or fact, and without admitting or denying allegations or finding Citadel Securities, the firm stipulated that between September 14th, 2015 and July 21st, 2016, the firm had a system issue related to implementation of new order marketing and trade reporting methodologies required to pursuant a regulation to SHO, blah, 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 respectively, which caused it to report approximately 6.5 million equity sale transactions to the FINRA NASDAQ reporting facility with an inaccurate short sale indicator in violation of rule within FINRA. The fact is, Citadel is inaccurately reporting this, and this just shows it because this is a FINRA report talking about it. I also found things in this report talking about Citadel front running a lot of their transactions. It's in this report, guys, and I'm going to link it down in the description. I think it is definitely very important we know something about our enemy, in my personal opinion. Now, let's take a look here at this article from Bloomberg. It's called "Gamma Squeezes are in play as options drive a two-faced market." So what they're basically talking about is the VIX versus the S&P 500. And they call the S&P 500 currently on snooze. And honestly, when you do really take a look at it, it definitely has been on snooze. It's been a pretty flat kind of thing within the options market and hasn't had a lot of volatility versus these meme stocks, which, as this article says, as meme mania rages, companies such as AMC Entertainment Holding are whipsawing traders like never before, yet index level stocks are in such a placid in years, with the S&P 500 index posting the sleepiest stretch since 2017. So on one end of the market, we have essentially stocks that are not really volatile at all and that are just slowly going up or slowly going down. And then we have these stocks that have huge range that are quote unquote meme stocks that are just whipsawing back and forth of going, well, we're going to rip 30% and then we're going to dive 30% kind of thing. And this shows within the meme stocks that we're fighting a battle, and the fact that we're getting this level of exposure and that people and market makers are starting to see this is definitely a huge deal, guys. I want to remind you that we are seeing restrictions from prime brokers of short selling. It's a huge deal, guys. It is definitely something that we haven't seen before, and they're starting to see the writing on the wall, and they're wanting to reduce their risk exposure because in the end of the day, they don't want to be left holding the bag, and they don't want to be left essentially liquidating their whole entire firm because someone had way too much leverage and didn't have enough assets to pay for that leverage. But that's really what I got for you guys today. If you need any conviction within AMC, just remember, when in doubt, zoom out, and we held $50 today, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.